Hello and welcome to another episode of the Otaku Experience over here on the Burnett. I am, of course, your host, Israel. In this episode, we're going to discuss the disastrous leak of different shows from Crunchyroll and Netflix, the My Hero Academia manga officially ending, and the look back director's comments on the rise of AI. After we discuss the stories, we'll take a look at some of the more memorable moments from this past week in the Keeping Up with the Anime Community segment. We'll talk about this week's summer audience rankings, and finally, we'll get into the comments written by you guys from the last episode. With all that being said, let's get right into the show. Howdy y'all, how are we doing everybody? I hope we're all doing good as I just touch my mic. Hopefully that didn't make a big noise. So not a huge amount of banter for this episode. Mainly just wanted to say that there was no show last week. There just was not really anything to talk about other than a topic that we'll talk about later in this episode, which is My Hero Academia, the manga officially ending. But other than that, there was like a bunch of... There was nothing really substantive, like a bunch of stuff that I could maybe have like a secondary or third topic, and then a bunch of small story stuff, but nothing that I thought was particularly interesting to be like, this is this episode, if that makes any sense. But we're back this week. This week we had a decent week of news. Crazy what's going on. But I did want to say that next episode, get ready. So just so y'all can get excited and be prepared that next Sunday, next episode, we are going to be talking about our mid-season thoughts on this anime season. So if you guys want to get the jump on that and leave comments in this episode talking about your thoughts on all the shows that you've been watching, or if you want to wait till next week, that's fine. But just so you guys know, those are the shows that we're going to be talking about, and that should be a lot of fun. But without wasting any time, over the course of this past week, we witnessed one of the most disastrous streaming leaks in years, involving Crunchyroll and Netflix. If you guys don't know, clips, episodes, and even a full season of one of the shows, including Dandadan, Ranma 1.5, the remake, ReZero Season 3, and Arcane Season 2 have leaked. And the articles I'm using as my sources for this story are from Anime Corner, where they say Dandadan premiere and at least 2 episodes of the upcoming Ranma 1.5 remake were leaked online earlier today. Both titles are scheduled to begin airing this October and will stream on Netflix. At this time, it appears that Netflix is the common denominator, as Mononoke Karakasa movie was also leaked. However, according to the SAG-AFTRA's signatory confirmation database, the movie, which had premiered in Japan on July 26th, will be getting an English dub that will stream on the platform under the Phantom in the Rain title. And then they have that shows the title. It's a little graphic there, but that's another thing. And I think the reason why people weren't freaking out so much about this one compared to the rest is that the Mononoke, I almost said Monogatari, but the Mononoke movie, which I think is now going to be like a trilogy or something, that's already technically been released. Well, it may not been released in most markets yet. It's technically already been released, so it was still a huge deal, but it wasn't like something that's months away, like Dandadan or Ranma or ReZero, that's suddenly being fully released, or like Arcane. Getting back to the article, it says reports of ReZero Season 3 premiere, which streams on Netflix in Japan, being leaked have also appeared online, but at this time we have not been able to confirm them. That's definitely been confirmed. I think full episodes. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I saw. The 90-minute premiere was screened during this year's Anime Expo in Los Angeles in July. Photos of the screening are available online, even though photographing the event was not allowed. The first episode of Science Saru's Dandadan premiered at this year's Anime Expo. The English dub version is coming to Anime NYC in August. The anime will have a theatrical run consisting of the first 3 episodes. The leaked version of Dandadan's premiere is in Japanese without subtitles and featuring timestamps. The description on one of the popular anime pirate websites hints it is coming from an unknown Telegram channel. The opening by CreepyNuts has been circulating Twitter and X for the past few hours. And then they have an update on August 7th, which was a few days ago from when I'm filming this. I believe that was Wednesday. And it says at least 6 episodes are out now. And I could be wrong, but I believe the entire season of Dandadan leaked. I could be wrong, but I believe that is the case. But still, even if not, just half a season is disastrous. Getting back to the article, they say ReZero Starting Life in Another World Season 3 premiere joins the list of upcoming leaked anime titles. The first episode of the season was shared on numerous pirate websites earlier today, including some of the most popular anime torrent trackers. Unlike yesterday's Dandadan and Ranma 1.5 remake leaks, ReZero was uploaded in a much better quality with French subtitles. The 90-minute premiere of ReZero Starting a Life in Another World Season 3 with French subtitles was scheduled to be screened by Crunchyroll on July 11th at Japan Expo in Paris. The screening was canceled for reasons beyond Crunchyroll's control. The leaked video bears the Japan Expo 2024 watermark in the upper left corner. Prior to the Japan Expo, Crunchyroll's Tower of God Season 2 premiere screener was leaked in a similar manner after its premiere at Anime Expo 2024. In April of this year, several titles from the Crunchyroll Spring 2024 lineup were also leaked. Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World Season 3, Sound Euphonium Season 3, as a reincarnated aristocrat, I will use my appraisal skill to rise in this world, and more were out before their official release dates. All of the titles were screened during the Puerto Rico Comic-Con. This leak appears to be unrelated to Dandadan and Ranma 1.5. While multiple episodes of these shows appeared online, they were much worse quality and heavily time-stamped. Mononoke Karakasa movie was also uploaded. It premiered in Japan on July 26, but still hasn't announced its overseas premiere. These three titles appear to have come from Netflix. The two anime will stream on the platform, while Mononoke movie is seemingly getting a dub through a Netflix dubbing agreement. So that kind of covers both of those. And then there's a little Twitter post from the Hollywood Handle that talks about how Arcane Season 2 has leaked online. And I believe the full season of that has leaked as well. And if maybe you guys should, mess with your settings and stuff like that and start muting some words, because this show, I believe, doesn't come out until the end of the year. October, November, something like that. I forget, maybe even like December. It's sometime in the final few months of the year. And we now just have to sit with the full season being released, and we just kind of have to try to avoid and evade these spoilers. And so it's just crazy. And there was a statement, which we'll get to a bit later, but the fact that all this happened within the same week, I know that they say that this seems to be unrelated. The ReZero leak, the Arcane leak, they seem to be unrelated to Dandadan and Ranma 1.5. But at the same time, like, these all happened within a few days of each other. It was like every day this week we were getting news of more stuff is leaked, more stuff. Like, okay, first it was the opening and the ending and a couple screenshots from this anime. Okay, a full episode is online now. Okay, half of Dandadan is out. Okay, all of Arcane is out. Okay, the entire premiere of ReZero is out. The entire Mononoke movie is out. It kind of seems a little too perfect to not to be a coincidence. It has to be something that is coordinated. I don't know if this was like a disgruntled employee or employees that had something against these studios, maybe tried to one-up them on something. I don't know what the case is, but it had to have been someone who got access to all of this footage, and some of it is like full-on, like, real high-quality stuff. Some of it is like screen-recorded stuff. Some of it is from old versions with different subtitles that have logos from stuff that was supposed to be screened in the past. And so these are all from things that seem to have been passed, like they've had to have gone through people, because they have one thing that was going to air at Japan Expo 2024, the ReZero thing, which is why it has the Japan Expo logo still on it when you look at the leak. And I'm not going to talk about where you can find these leaks. I'm not going to entertain that at all. So these are definitely old versions. I don't know how recent, like, maybe, there's a lot of editing and stuff that still needs to be done. It's just insane. I don't know how this happened. And it also feels too perfect to not be coordinated. And we'll get into the statements later. And as far as I know, we still do not have anyone that we know did it or that we think did it. Netflix and Crunchyroll are both, starting investigations to look into that. But what seems to be like the first guess that comes to my mind is a disgruntled employee or something like that. Like, someone had to have a reason against these studios to do this stuff. And I know that some people might say that these things aren't related, but I think they are, because while ReZero is going to air on Crunchyroll, for a lot of us, it streams on Netflix in Japan. And I think the same might be true for Dandadan. I think it's coming to Crunchyroll, but it might be airing on Japan in some other area. So both of these streaming services have access to these things. And the Mononoke movie will be streaming on Netflix as well. So I think there was some connection here. Someone had to be working for both, where there was an overlap, and then some disgruntled employee got access to this somehow, had connections, saw some stuff that was recorded at, this fan event with the phone camera, got some other high quality stuff that might be passed by their desk. And that's what's going on. So that's kind of my theory. But also, we just need to talk about how disastrous this is for everybody involved. So we have it's obviously awful for the studios, and that's what most people are talking about. But also, we have all the artists involved, the people, the voice actors, the people who do the music, the director, the script writers, the animators, of course, the key visual artists, the visual effects, every aspect. I'm leaving out many, but every aspect of this. All of their work almost has just kind of been squandered, just been kind of thrown up in the air and just allowed to land wherever it goes. People put in years of their life to do these shows. 6 episodes of Dandadan at least are out, which is, I think, half the show. I think it's a 12 episode normal anime season run. That's half the show, which shows how far ahead they were, which shows how long they've been working on it. And they would have wanted a full release with all the bells and whistles, with all the hype going up to it, and then everybody watching it and everybody giving their thoughts that would hopefully be fantastic. But suddenly, some of these are screen recorded stuff. Some of these are just high quality leaks that it's who the heck got access to this? That now it's just out there and it's just in the ether, and you can find it. You can find, clips on Twitter from these leaks. You have to scroll past it or try to avoid it. You can find full episodes and half a season of certain shows on. You can find the full season of Arcane somewhere. Once again, I'm not going to say where, but I just feel so bad for everybody involved. I can't imagine, how that would feel to be hey, imagine some first time animator, someone finally made it big. They got hired by Science Saru or hired by Wit. Wit still does ReZero, right? Or, any of these studios. And they're I'm finally working on something huge and I can't wait for people to see it. I'm so proud of this work. And then it just gets released without you knowing, without anyone knowing. And suddenly maybe your work was unfinished. Maybe it was finished, but it just wasn't released the way that you wanted it to be. And suddenly now it's just out there and you had no control over that. Well, I guess an animator wouldn't have control about when it was being released, but it would be done. They would know it's done and it's going out there because they have a deadline. But now it's just out there. And it's just crazy. If what I think is the case is true, and I have no insider information or anything on that, that's just my theory. That just seems to be the case with how perfectly timed all this seems to be. It feels like it's a disgruntled employee or something like that, because that's the only type of person I could think that has access. Unless someone saw, maybe these people are all unrelated, and someone saw someone upload a leak of, Dandadan and was hey, I screen recorded with my phone the ReZero thing, so I'm gonna upload that, and then someone at Netflix saw that and was okay, we'll do Arcane. Maybe that's the case. They were just hey, they're doing it, we could do it. But that seems a little too coincidental. I think the simplest option might just be it was one person who had access to all these things, and for some reason just decided to release them and really just ruin so many things. Ruin the release, ruin the what would you call it? Just the experience of the audience, because now we have to avoid spoilers. There's some people who are already watching it and won't watch it when it officially comes out. all the people who worked on it. It just really really sucks. But that's everything that's leaked. That's everything that's come out. That's everything that's been leaked and has come out over the past week. As of now, that's what we know. And yeah, we'll get into the statements in a little bit, but man, this is crazy. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. Weekly Young magazine revealed on Monday that Why the Hell Are You Here Teacher manga will continue serialization after a 4-year break on August 19th. For more information on Why the Hell Are You Here Teacher, I'll put an Anime News Network article in the description. So anyways, continuing the story, at the time of filming this, it was yesterday, I believe, that Crunchyroll and Netflix made statements on the leaks. And I'm getting these statements from Anime News Network and CBR because they addressed the leaks separately. And so we have from Anime News Network, IGN reported on Friday that Netflix provided them a statement regarding the leaks of anime episodes, most of which have been announced to stream on the service in the future. Netflix stated that the leaks were initially reported internally before spreading online. Netflix told IGN, one of our post-production partners has been compromised and footage... Compromised. All right. Sorry. I won't... Let's read the article before I make any, hypotheses. One of our post-production partners has been compromised, and footage from several of our titles has unfortunately leaked online. Our team is aggressively taking action to have it taken down, and God willing they do. Update. Global entertainment technology and localization company Euno released a statement. Euno is aware of a recent security issue involving unauthorized access to confidential content. Protecting our clients' confidentiality and ensuring the security of their content is our highest priority. We are actively investigating the security to breach to mitigate any potential risks and identify the responsible parties. When there are material changes or information, we'll make future statements. So maybe this isn't necessarily a disgruntled employee, and maybe it was just someone hacking, because we have seen things be hacked with Disney. We saw things get hacked with Kodansha. Maybe this is something people just got into the servers, found all this stuff, and then leaked it. Maybe that could be the case too. And they tried to, be like, hey, Netflix, we're going to release this if you don't do X, Y, and Z. And maybe Netflix said no, and then they released it. Or maybe they just released it, and then we're hoping to get something. Or maybe they just released it for funsies. I don't know. Update. The Wrap also reported on Friday that Crunchyroll provided the statement, we are aware of a content leak ahead of one of our fall series. We have opened an investigation to identify the source of this leak, and our team is taking action to have it taken down. According to IGN, other Netflix shows and films, including the second season of animated action series Arcane, Heartstopper Season 3, Gentry Chow vs. the Underworld, Plankton, the movie, and Spellbound have also been leaked, but we're only talking about the anime stuff. But yeah, there's other stuff outside of anime that has released. But we're just talking about the anime side of things because that's what the show's about. Anime News Network has reached out to several companies affected, including Netflix, Crunchyroll, Viz Media, and G-Kids for comments. Initially, the new anime of Rumiko's Takahashi's Ranma 1.5 manga and the television anime of Yukinobu Tatsu's Dandadan manga, as well as the Gekijoban Mononoke Karakasa anime film, were leaked to the public via sites such as 4chan and piracy BitTorrent sites. The original leaked material included episodes 1, 3, and 4 of Ranma 1.5, the first 2 episodes of Dandadan, and the entirety of Gekijoban Mononoke Karakasa anime film. The leaks have blurred watermarks and burned-in timestamps and are in low resolution format. Later, the first episode of the third season of ReZero Season 3 was leaked as well. The episode has a watermark for France's Japan Expo 2024, which took place on July 11th through the 14th. Episodes 3 through 6 of Dandadan. So first we had the first 2, and now we have 3 through 6 of Dandadan, and all episodes of Skydance Animation and Production IG's Terminator Zero anime series had also been like, this is the first time I'm hearing about that. I haven't read the statements yet because these were new as of the time of filming this. So I didn't know that Terminator Zero also had leaked. This is crazy. Finally, more episodes of Ranma 1.5 anime were eventually leaked for a total of 12 episodes, the average number of anime cores quarter of a year. So Ranma 1.5 has had an entire core leaked. It seems like all episodes of Terminator Zero have been leaked, and the first half of Dandadan, the premiere of ReZero, and the entire Mononoke Karakasa movie have been leaked. Man, that's crazy. Okay, but going over to the Crunchyroll statement, we go over to the CBR article where they say, following the recent leaks of ReZero Season 3 premiere, a Crunchyroll spokesperson said to CBR via email correspondence, "We are aware of a content leak ahead of one of our fall series. We've opened an investigation to identify the source of the leak, and our team is taking action to have it taken down." A lot of that we just read. This week has nearly seen a dozen anime titles leaked online. Yada yada. While Crunchyroll is less implicated with just ReZero, leaks continue to plague its titles. Spring 2024 saw leaks of several high-profile Crunchyroll anime series, including Konosuba Season 3 and Sound Euphonium Season 3, alongside others. CBR also reached out to American film distributor G-Kids, which recently announced that Dandadan would be its first engagement with a first run anime series. Dandadan is set to stream on Netflix as well as simulcast on Crunchyroll in October 2024. However, G-Kids declined to release a statement. Netflix is the worst affected by recent events, which did eventually release a statement following the leaks. It cited a breach of post-production partner, which was revealed to be Iuno Inc. Iuno's statement the following day reads, "We are actively investigating the security breach to mitigate any potential risks and identify the responsible parties. When there are material changes or information, we will make further statements." Okay. So my theory is changing. The gears are turning. Okay, so it seems like now, where before it seemed like a disgruntled employee, and it still could be, now it seems like their servers got hacked. One of their post-production partners who gets access to the stuff so that way they can do the post-production, they had versions of everything. I assume not finalized versions other than the Mononoke film, because that has been released. But other than that, probably not completely finalized stuff, other than maybe like the Terminator anime, but that might still have had like little things here and there, like visual effects wise and maybe sound effects and things like that. But they have all these stuff on their servers because they're doing post-production work. And it's seeming like they just got hacked and the stuff was leaked. Now, maybe they were hacked by a disgruntled employee who knew how to get into that because they worked there. Or maybe it was literally just some random nobody and we'll figure that out. Or maybe random nobodies. Maybe they had help. And it's seeming like that there has been a connection with everyone. Everyone must have been using this post-production partner, or at least have all been connected enough for this all to happen. So while at first they said this seems to be disconnected, now it's seeming to be pretty clear, like I was saying before, that all of this is connected, which is just really tragic. Just sucks to see. And a lot of my thoughts are the same as before, but I just feel bad for everybody involved. Yeah, I mean, I try to imagine, like, you know, I made a documentary back in 2022. And, you know, if that got leaked, you know, like a week or 2 weeks before, you know, God forbid even further, because that would have been bad. But I mean, it would have been bad regardless, but it was closer to being completely done, like a week to 2 weeks out. Like if it had gotten released and I didn't have any control, now, not that anyone would care, right? Only like 3 people, being like my mom and my dad and my grandma probably would care. But you know, it would just suck to not, you know, be in charge of that. It would feel like, you know, like something, I mean, it wouldn't feel like it, something straight up was stolen. And so even though I've never experienced this, I can imagine, and it makes me so angry. Like I want to know who did this. I want to know what their motives were. And maybe it's just like Joker in The Dark Knight, where Alfred says, "Some men just want to see the world burn, Mr. Wayne," whatever his accent is. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. What a crazy situation. And I hope more information comes out. So that we, in the next episode of the show, we can talk about the fallout of everything, and hopefully maybe they've cleaned up a lot of the leaks. I mean, it's on the internet, so it's going to be there forever, but hopefully they can clean up a lot of that, crack down on some of these piracy services, and as well as leaks on social media, as well as find the people who did this and, you know, take action on that. But man. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. The previously announced second season of Kaiju number 8 has been officially confirmed for a 2025 release, as well as a theatrically released compilation movie of the first season. For more information about Kaiju number 8's second season and compilation movie, I'll put 2 articles in the description. Like I said, we didn't do a show this past week because there just wasn't that much to talk about, so we didn't get a chance to talk about this. The one story that was worth talking about, and that is the My Hero Academia manga has officially ended. And the articles I'm using as my source for this story are from Anime Corner and from CBR. Where at Anime Corner, they say the My Hero Academia manga has officially ended today. This was last Sunday, a week ago from when this episode is coming out, concluding its run of 10 years since beginning serialization in July 2014. The author Kohei Horikoshi had previously said he was planning to end it in 2022, but it took a little bit longer to conclude the story of our favorite heroes. Chapter 430 is now available on the Manga Plus app by Shueisha website or the Shonen Jump app. And then numerous fellow Shonen Jump authors left messages in the latest edition of the magazine commenting on the ending of My Hero Academia. You can read some of them below, and I feel like we might as well. Like this is just like a celebration. So Eichiro Oda, of course, from One Piece says, "So you can play Pokemon Go all you want now, huh? Horikoshi, thank you for 10 years of hard work and serialization." Akutami Gege from Jujutsu Kaisen. Without My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen would not have ever been born. Congratulations on the completion of this series. Hitsuji Gondaira, I hope I said that right, Mission Yazakura family says, thanks to the characters like Tokoyami-kun and the ordinary women, my life has become more resilient and rich. I'm really happy. Yoshifumi Tozuka from Undead Unlook says, I kept reading and drawing my own work through the first volume of My Hero Academia. Horikoshi sensei, thank you for your hard work. Yuto Suzuki from Sakamoto Days says, thank you for your hard work on My Hero Academia over the past 10 years. Being serialized in the same magazine is the pride of my life. Oh, that's really sweet. Yusei Matsui from The Elusive Samurai says, your series was a perfect example of what a jump work should be. Thank you for your hard work, Horikoshi sensei. And Takeru Hokazono from Kagurabaki says, I still remember the feelings of reading volume 17 back when I was still in high school, from Mirio to All for One, One for All, 100%. It was legendary. The My Hero Academia manga by Kohei Horikoshi was serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump since July 2014, 10 years. It has since become one of the biggest Shonen Jump titles, and it received its first anime adaptation by Studio Bones in 2016. It received 6 more seasons in the following years, with the 7th season currently ongoing and a movie on the way. The franchise now has 4 movies released, 2 Heroes, which came out in 2018, Heroes Rising, which came out in 2019, World Heroes Mission, 2021, and Your Next, 2024. The new movie will hit North American theaters in October, and I just thought that was awesome. All the authors, popping in to just be like, like the death of a titan almost. Yeah, it's just crazy. It is interesting that he wanted to originally end it like in 2022, but the story just kept going. And to be fair, I'm not a manga reader for this. I watch the anime. I like it better that way. So I have no idea what's going on. I've heard of some things, like I think there was a large Twitter discourse on how Deku ended up in the final chapter, and there was a lot of fun there. But other than that, I don't really know how a lot of the stuff wrapped up, and so that's going to be interesting to see. I know that some characters get redeemed, some characters fall. It'll be interesting to see how all that plays out in the anime. And I think they originally said, I could be wrong, but I think they said the anime, they wanted to similarly have a 10-year run with the anime. I think that was like a couple years ago. So we might be seeing, if a season comes out each year, 2024 season 7, 2028 season, not 2028, 2025 season 8, and then 2026, which would be 10 years, that would be season 9. So maybe 2 more seasons of the show. So like 50 more episodes after this season. That could be interesting to see. But yeah, so as someone who hasn't read the manga, I didn't really know what to talk about because I couldn't be like, yeah, I liked the ending, let me talk about it. Like, I don't know. So I just mainly wanted to highlight that. And then something else that we can highlight is that the authors praising or giving honor to the work of Horikoshi continues in this CBR article where they say chapter 100 or 100. Chapter 1122 of the One Piece manga continues the epic storyline of the Egghead arc. The chapter's cover art features a highly detailed illustration of Smoker the White Hunter. At first glance, the new cover art starring the Marine Vice Admiral doesn't seem to be out of the ordinary. However, there's a deeper history to the use of Smoker that fans of both Shonen Jump series may not know. Oda's cover art of chapter 100... I keep saying 100. That is clearly 1,000, Israel. 1122 is a remake of Horikoshi's own fan art of Smoker featured in One Piece volume 77. And there's a screenshot here of like that fan stuff that was in the volume. And then if you go down, if you go to the next thing, it's like Oda like made that like an official thing in honor of My Hero Academia ending. And the article goes on to say volume 77 of One Piece was released on April 3rd, 2015. In the questions and answers section of the manga known as SBS, Oda dedicated a page to Horikoshi that showed how far he had come as a Japanese manga artist. Horikoshi's fan art of Smoker was originally featured in volume 23 of One Piece, which was 10 years ago from the publication of volume 77, back when Horikoshi was just a student. This was also before Horikoshi began working on My Hero Academia for a weekly Shonen Jump. That's just so sweet and wholesome. I love it. So yeah, well, I can't really talk about like the actual ending of it because I haven't read it. The effect is going to be massive, like comparative to Attack on Titan. While I don't think the anime has continued to be as big as the anime for Attack on Titan, I think that the ripple effect of the works is comparable in that they are some of the biggest names and most influential manga works of all time. And them ending definitely does like, it's just like weird to like enter a new era where Attack on Titan's over, My Hero Academia is over, Jujutsu Kaisen's ending sometime soon. You know, One Piece has been about to end for like 5 years, but you know, it's about to end. You know, it's just going to be weird when like is slowly one by one, like they never said it could be done, but these giants are going away and, you know, it's just going to continue to be that. So My Hero Academia has definitely had a positive effect for me. I remember watching it when I was like 16. I didn't like it at first. And then I watched it a couple years later. And I really liked it, and I binged like the first like 4 seasons in like 4 weeks, and I was caught up with it up until season 6 when I got a little behind, and I'm still behind, but I'm working on it. Yeah, I know some people got tired of some of the tropes and just how long it's been, and to be fair, I have to. But also, you know, it's just one of those shows that's just a really fun ride, and it's just like a nice little fun piece of just shonen. That's all I can say, just shonen. That, you know, has just been a lot of fun and I have great memories of over the past few years. So I'll feel it a lot more when the anime ends because that's how I partake in it. But just knowing that it like has ended and now like, you know, there is an end line that the anime is going to hit at some point. That's just a little surreal. So I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that whenever that happens in a few years. But yeah, for those of you guys who have read it, I can only imagine what that's like. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. The new film My Hero Academia Your Next opened in Japanese theaters and topped the box office with 895 million yen, or a little over $6 million in its first 3 days. The film releases in US theaters on October 11th. For more information about My Hero Academia Your Next, I'll put an Anime News Network article in the description. So we've continued to talk about the uncertain future of anime and manga as we know it with the rise of AI. Another anime that we've been talking about a lot lately is the Look Back anime film. Well, the director of the Look Back anime, Kiyotaka Oshiyama, commented about this in a recent interview. I don't want to talk about it because it's my show. The article I'm using as my source for this story is from CBR, where they say, Japanese news website Montan Web interviewed Oshiyama about the successful anime adaptation of the Look Back manga by Chainsaw Man author Tatsuki Fujimoto. Despite the film's limited release in Japan, Look Back has grossed over $1 billion since mid-July. Since the movie follows two young female students pursuing their dreams of becoming manga artists, Oshiyama's interview revolves around his thoughts on animators, young and old, and the competitive attitude needed to succeed as artists. He opens up about the divisiveness issue of AI programming for creating artwork and animation and what it means for those working in the industry today. I deliberately tried to leave lines that looked human, Oshiyama said, lines that contained the artist's feelings, their will to paint something. If you trace them and make them look mechanical, the information in the lines is lost. I tried to show the lines directly on the screen because it's becoming easier to create beautiful images using AI. I think these lines drawn by humans still have their place. Even if AI were to imitate humans and reproduce the rough sketches, it would just be a design. It would be a fake. The lines have meaning because they were drawn by humans. This may be the last time we'll be able to do this, but there's value in that. It's also connected to the praise of the creators. Earlier in the interview, Oshiyama talked about how the thought process of portraying Fujimoto's characters in animation, such as the symbolic camera shots taken from behind Ayumu Fujino, a shot that was present in the film's first visual teaser. However, small but realistic mannerisms like Fujino's fidgeting while drawing her manga were done to make the characters feel alive. I pursued a level of realism that isn't often achieved in animation, Oshiyama said. I tried to differentiate it and express novelty by deliberately showing things that would normally be omitted in animation. One example is the long shot at the beginning, scratching the stomach, crossing the elbows, stretching the body. In animation, these may seem like unnecessary details that don't affect the story, but I tried to depict ordinary everyday life in detail. I love this. I just love everything he says. I won't talk too much about this because he kind of said everything perfectly, but I mean, it's exactly true. And it's what I've been saying, that even just like a pencil stroke done by a human is, in my mind, a single pencil stroke is infinitely more valuable than an entire sketch made by AI. Because a person drew that. And when we say a person drew it, of course, like a human being drew it with a pencil, duh. But like the deeper meanings of that. Why did they draw the line that way? What was going through their head? What were they feeling? What were they trying to express? Were they trying to express anything at all? Why were they trying to express what they were trying to express? Were they trying to express something that is personal to them or something that they just want to explore? Like that, but like a million more questions that when an AI does it, it just does it because it was prompted to. It was told to. It's an algorithm just doing it. And there are so many things that like we as humans, if we're looking for them, I feel like so many people, because we talk about stuff as content these days, content, product. And it's not like, it's no longer like an art form anymore. It's not treated that way. And if you just like allow yourself to not just watch something for entertainment, and entertainment's great, but every now and then just sit and be like, why? Why did they do that? Why did they choose to do it that way? I think that'll lead you down a series of questions where you start to look at the piece of media, the piece of art that you're taking in a different way. And that's something that AI just, it simply can't do. Maybe 10 billion years from now, like AI is like this, you know, like it has a soul or something, but like, I doubt it, you know? There's so much that comes from us as people because we're so complicated and so nuanced. and there's so many layers that every little thing, there's an entire story behind it. And that just won't carry over. It'll start to feel empty. And I think people who never really cared in the first place won't notice. I think that's a sad, large portion of the audience today. And the people who love it and long for it and live for it would never get it again. And that's a scary future to think about. And yeah, like I said, I won't add too much. I think a lot of what he said there was just flat out perfect. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. The Tomodachi Game manga ended on Thursday with its final chapter in Bisatsu Shonen magazine. The chapter ended the over 10.5-year long run for the manga that has 6 million copies in circulation. For more information about Tomodachi Game, I'll leave it in my anime list article in the description. As much as it seems impossible, with all the goofy decisions they've been making lately, Crunchyroll continues to grow in the number of subscribers that they have, and they recently surpassed 15 million subscribers. And the article I'm using as my source for this story is from CBR, where they say, over a decade ago, Crunchyroll entered the streaming scene, allowing anime lovers around the world to enjoy their favorite hits as soon as they dropped in Japan. Now, the iconic streaming platform has officially surpassed 15 million monthly paying subscribers from around the globe, crossing a new era in its history. As detailed in a recent press release, Crunchyroll currently boasts the world's largest dedicated anime streaming library, offering over 50,000 episodes across over 1,000 anime titles. Notably, the company's recent milestone comes on the heels of a major branding initiative that introduced a modernized Crunchyroll logo, along with a new color system that aims to reflect anime's dynamic nature, as well as removing the comment section and destroying any community aspect of the website. But anyway, as shown below, the fresh new color scheme that has already been utilized in Crunchyroll's marketing, along with a new font type that blends classic and modern elements. And they have a graphic of like all the stuff that we talked about a few weeks ago. But anyway, sorry, I got a little distracted there. But I mean, yeah, I think a lot of us are in kind of a mixed place, if not a negative place with Crunchyroll right now, just because a lot of the decisions they've been making. But still, I think if we just look at it as objectively as we can, they're the best streamer out there. Now, granted, they kind of ate up all their competition, but overall, I still really like using their UI. I like their aesthetic. I like a lot of the stuff that they do. My two biggest problems with Crunchyroll are their anime awards and them turning off the comments. So like, there are deeper, more like systemic issues like within the company that we can talk about, but like that pertains to us. So like all the stuff they do with the community, I'm not really a huge fan of. But other than that, I think they do a great job. But yeah, I think it's interesting how they're the largest purely anime streamer with 15 million subscribers. And then you look at a lot of the other streamers, like obviously Netflix, what is that, over 200 million subscribers? I think the closest one that we have in America is like Peacock or something. It has like 30,000 or 30 million subscribers or something like that. I don't know. I was looking up a bunch like the other day when this news came out. And I saw one that was like the closest was like double, but I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, anime continues to grow, continues to become more popular and more mainstream. And so I'm happy to see it growing, and I'm happy to see that more people are subscribing. Crunchyroll, I do love you. We're just in a rough patch. Okay. I'm sorry I moved out. I'll move back in when you get your stuff together. I still love you, but we have to address some of these problems if we're going to make things better in the future, you know? So I want the best, but you know, it's a little complicated when, you know, they haven't been making decisions lately. I like how in the article they were like, this happens after Crunchyroll does like all these graphic changes. Oh yeah, because that's the big story. Anyways. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. Crunchyroll has officially changed the release days for new episodes of My Dear Friend Nokotan from Sundays to Wednesdays. This means that Western audiences now get to watch new episodes much closer to the broadcast released in Japan. The change has already been implemented with the release of episode 6 this past Wednesday. For more information about My Dear Friend Nokotan, I'll put an Anime Corner article in the description. With all the major headlines of this past week out of the way, it's time to hop into some of the more memorable moments of this past week. It's time for some keeping up with the anime community. Alrighty, so we have this one. I read the headline and I was like, what? And so we're going to see what this is about. So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of those shows that is... I really never got into it, if I'm being honest. It was never really my thing, but the creator is a peculiar young person as well as the fan base, and apparently the creator had to deny that he was a vampire. So the author and illustrator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, one of the longest running ongoing manga, yada yada yada, has denied popular fan theories of his immortality. As part of an unveiling for his first ever public art installation at JR Osaka Station, the Fountain Boy, the 64-year-old Hirohiko Araki made his first in-person official media appearance in some time. Via Japanese news and entertainment outlet Oricon, JoJo's creator responded to long-held fan theories about his apparent eternal youth, among which some have claimed he could be a vampire as he appears to get younger with each passing year. I'm definitely getting older, Araki responded. There are times when it's hard every day. My legs are stiff, I get muscle pain every day, and when I draw manga, I get muscle pain. When I was young, I didn't have any. The manga artist also provided some answers to the secret of his youthful looks. When people ask me, what's the secret to your youth? I answer, drinking blood, and he revealed that he was actually a vampire. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, so we have that, as well as this. So... Jujutsu Kaisen has a fun fan base as well, and one of the fans made a real life prison realm in real life. Isn't that fun? Look at that.
Get ready with me while I assemble the eye mechanisms for the Jujutsu Kaisen Prison Realm Cube while I try to answer as many of your questions from the comments as I can in 1 minute. Is the biblically accurate angel project still happening?
We're gonna have to mute because I don't think this is like I don't think the music's gonna help out with anything. But yeah, I mean, we saw it a little bit at the beginning. So he made these with eyes that move. It's really weird. It's really creepy. It's really disgusting. I don't know how long this video is, but not that I dislike the work, but you know, we're doing a show, right? So anyways, you get the idea. Okay, there you go. And that's what it kind of looked like if he would stop cutting away from. There we go. Okay, cut away from it again. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, lots of fun. Y'all are weird, bro. This is crazy. And with that, it's time to take a look at the summer 2024 audience anime rankings. Anime audience rankings from this past week. So starting with the anime trending rankings from last Sunday, we have Oshinoko Season 2, which went up 1 spot to number 1. I Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian went down 1 spot to number 2. Maidkind has spent 2 weeks at number 3. Days with My Stepsister went up 1 spot to number 4. My Dear Friend Nokotan went down 1 spot to number 5. Nier is a new entry into the top 10. Congratulations at number 6. Pseudo Harem went down 1 spot to number 7. 2.5 Dimensional Seduction has spent 3 weeks at number 8. Monogatari series Off and Monster Season went up 1 spot to number 9. And The Elusive Samurai went down 1 spot to number 10. Heading on over to the Anime Corner chart, we have Oshinoko as well. 2 different episodes because the Anime Corner rankings are later in the week. Went up 1 spot to number 1. Ali Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian went down 1 spot to number 2. Too Many Losing Heroines went up 2 spots to number 3. Kimi no Todoke, which premiered on Netflix this week, all the episodes, is a new entry into the top 10 at number 4, and it'll probably not be there next week. Days with My Stepsister went down 2 spots to number 5. The Elusive Samurai went up 2 spots to number 6. Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest went down 3 spots to number 7. Suicide Squad Isekai went down 2 spots to number 8. No Longer Allowed Another World went down 2 spots to number 9. And 2.5 dimensional seduction has spent another week at the same rank at number 10. Going on over to the Japanese ratings, these are the shows. This is from the Kanto region, which has over 40 million residents, and they kind of use this to gauge what the Japanese average person is watching, just so we can get an idea. We get so used to what everybody outside of Japan is watching when it comes to anime, but what are the people in Japan watching? And so obviously Sasai-san is number 1, as always, with 5.0 rating. Chibi Maruko-chan at number 2. Doraemon, By the Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime season 3 is up there as I wouldn't say it's a real anime and the rest are fake, but one of the shows that we would think of when we think of anime, with 2.5. One Piece at 2.7. Wonderful Precure at 2.5. Crayon Shinchan. Oshitere Tante Cells at Work at 1.4. And Oshiri Tante at the bottom as well. And finally, we're going to hop into responding to your comments and questions from the last episode. If you'd like me to respond to your comment or question in the next episode, you can just hop into the comments below and literally leave your thoughts on whatever, and I'll get back to you on that. So this week we only had one comment from Retromeister3709, who says, Akira Sensei deserves to have his creation go to the grave with him and not have it be abused and ultimately neglected by these cultural vandals. So this has to do with the main story from last episode, which was that there was a giant, I called it custody battle, but it's a giant rights dispute over just the Dragon Ball brand, who gets creative control over it. Does because Bandai Namco owns it. It's a Shueisha and Mr. Iyoku. I don't remember. Iyo something. But so they're having a huge rights dispute about that. But yeah, I agree. But I mean, sadly, that's not what's going to happen. We're in a day and age when things are being made with AI, when art no longer has a place in our society, when everything's a product and a piece of subsidized whatever, and nothing's sacred anymore. So I'm not surprised that this has happened. It's tragic, and I agree that would be the best thing, or it would pass on to someone that he specifically chose, but he didn't make a decision, obviously, because his death was so untimely and no one expected it to happen, including him. But so now it seems just really in poor taste for them to just be I want it. No, I want it. No, I want it. It's bro, the author just died, and no one cares. And so it's crazy, and I agree with you. It's just really sad, everything that's going on. But that does it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And hey, if you'd prefer to listen to the show rather than watch it, maybe you can't have a YouTube video open when the show comes out, or you just think I'm ugly, you can listen to the Otaku Experience podcast on Spotify. And hey, if you want to keep up with me outside of this show, you can subscribe to me on my main YouTube channel, King Tannic, where I make anime content, but in a less serious and professional way. You can also follow me on Instagram at King Tannic, or follow me on Twitter at King Tannic Israel. And if you're new to the Burnett Network, consider sticking around. We have some great shows for you to watch every week, most of which are hosted by the one, the only, Robert Meyer Burnett. And with that being said, guys, this episode comes to a close. I will see you all next time.